Welcome along, everyone, to the post-match show. What an hour we have got ahead for you. He's a happy man, Micah Richards. Manchester City have won 7-0 on the night. Picked the right night to come to Manchester, eh?
A great omen, do you know what I mean? I give you the big talk before, and they delivered. Man City were excellent. Over recent weeks, they've been getting back, or looking like they've been getting back to the best. But tonight, they were brilliant. Dissected Leipzig piece by piece. And that man, Haaland, 5 goals. We mentioned about, you know, Guardiola and Haaland, the battle. Guardiola got the first one, you know what I mean? He won the battle, but Haaland won the war, definitely. Fantastic.
Well, we're going to be joined by superstar Haaland very shortly. We're looking forward.
Well, you know, it's just...
Well, he got his goal in the end, and it was a sensational goal. Was it the best goal of the night, De Bruyne's?
Definitely. The way he just dropped his shoulder, put it out of his path, whipped it into the top corner. This is fantastic, Jamie. You don't seem jubilant. What's up with you?
No, it's just when you're explaining the goal. We were down there, so we never saw it.
Well, I saw the replay.
Are you sure you proved something to Pep Guardiola tonight, Thierry, after what was said yesterday?
No. You always go out there to try to prove you're the best, right? Always. Doesn't matter what the game is. For me, he didn't have to prove anything for his coach. It seems like he had to go back to basics, and he had to go, and everything will come naturally. This is what happened tonight. I think also for me he was the best player on the park.
When you say basics, Thierry, what did he mean by that? Coming from a coach's point of view.
We're going to have to ask him, because it depends on what he's asking his team, to let the ball breathe, to let the ball go, and then eventually you will find yourself in this type of situation and score. For me, what Kevin was doing since the beginning of the season, he went back to basics, giving assists and scoring less goals. That's what he was about at the very beginning. Then he went on to give you numbers that are not normal. But it doesn't mean, as you said, it doesn't mean that because your numbers are dropping because they are just crazy numbers that you're not still delivering.
Do you think he lost a little bit of confidence because of the World Cup? You know, the World Cup was expecting De Bruyne to be the best player bar none. It didn't quite work out.
Yeah, but you win the World Cup as a team. You win a Champions League as a team. You win the game as a team. Sometimes some player will bail you out. But Kevin De Bruyne is the type of player that needs his team to perform also for him to be able to perform. He can't take a ball from the halfway line and dribble past everybody. That cannot happen. Kevin is the type of guy that will pull the strings if your team is well balanced and things can happen. It didn't happen for us, unfortunately, at the World Cup for more than what I just explained, and I need another show to go into that. But Kev is a great player. When he's like that, he's unplayable.
Yeah, but it looked like he had a point to prove tonight. You know, if you watch him over the last couple of weeks, tonight he was on it from the first minute.
It is simple. Kevin, to come across him in the national team, is a perfectionist. When things are not going well, sometimes that can put him off his game. But I'd rather have a perfectionist and have to deal with that in my team and play with a guy like that every day of the week.
Do you think he's the greatest player to play for Manchester City?
I think Yaya and Silva will be up there. But I think if Kevin De Bruyne takes Man City to a Champions League, definitely. In terms of the way David Silva played when he first come, and let's say he's not been in the greatest of teams, he got Man City to be a top team. Kevin De Bruyne came and already won the league titles. But in terms of the pass that he can make and the difference he can make in a game, I think he's got more ability than Silva in that way. But the way, I think they're a little bit different players. You know, David Silva keeps the ball moving and does the effortless things like Carragher or Gareth Barry. A lot of things that people won't give him a praise for, whereas Kevin De Bruyne, when he's on it, it looks like he can make something happen out of nothing, and I think that's a difference.
Will you make your starting 11 of the Prem, Kevin?
All-time Premier League 11, I think Kevin De Bruyne would be in it, yeah.
Wow. Me too.
Yeah.
Wow, whoa. Let's not go right. Rather than, who are we talking? With Vieira?
It depends where you put him.
No, still,
it will be in.
Vieira, a different type of player.
Okay, but we're going to the midfield. We're going 3 in midfield.
We need another show to do a starting lineup, but
yeah,
it'll be in mine.
Maybe we'll do that for tomorrow's show, hey?
Okay.
When we've got a bit of time to build that. I can see Erling Haaland in the distance, by the way, and he is going to come over and join us.
Well, he's talking to our English
competitors?
They are competitors.
Well, they do Champions League.
Are we allowed to mention who it is? Are we not? No.
No, let's rather not.
I have no
idea.
idea.
But what I'm saying is, other broadcasters, what I'm saying is, he's just warming up before he comes to the real stuff here. It's just that's his warm-up, you know what I mean? Yeah.
We can see him in the distance. He is He is going to come and join us very shortly. But in the meantime, let's just say congratulations to Inter Milan. They're also through to the quarter-finals. Here we go. Erling Haaland joins us now. Look at that. He even got a bow. Hello, Erling. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on a phenomenal night in the Champions League. And for you, a special night scoring 5 goals. How was that?
No, it's an amazing feeling. I think you are the only one that maybe know how to score a lot of goals. So.
What a start!
To be honest, no, the feeling is amazing. First of all, to win 7-0, and first of all, to kind of give a statement to in this tournament in Champions League, which is a tournament I love, to give a kind of statement that we can actually score 7 goals, because it's not easy to score 7 goals. So it's an amazing feeling. Yeah.
Erling, I said at the beginning of the Champions League that I think in one game this year you score 5 or 6. Were you upset? Not upset. I don't want upset. But I saw you talking with Kevin, and you were trying to figure out, okay, he's gonna come for him. He's gonna come for him. I think if you stayed on that field, it could have been 6 or 7 tonight.
Yeah, and in the first half I could have scored more. I had alone with the goalkeeper. No, it's true. I had alone with the goalkeeper with the pass from Nath. I had the rebound with Gundo. I thought he was going to play the ball. That's why I went a bit more. If I dropped down 2 meters, I would have scored, because he shot at the keeper. So I could have had 2 more goals in the first half. And there was also crosses from Kevin I could have been at. So there was possibilities, but if I stayed on the pitch, no one knows what will happen. Yeah, in my mind, I think I always have to look for the next and to try to always reach more, because to stay hungry, because maybe someone would, if they score 5 goals, would be happy. You have to be happy, but you have to want more, of course.
Erling, you've come into a team who have been massively successful, certainly domestically, in terms of Premier Leagues. They haven't won the Champions League yet. They've brought you in, the best goal scorer in European football. Does it feel like there's maybe added pressure or more eyes on you to be the man who takes this team and this club to that first Champions League trophy?
It's a difficult question, because I can easily make headlines with this answer.
Go on then. That's what we want. That's what we're here for.
No, but
just say I'm the man to do it.
No, but of course, the club want to win the Champions League. They want to still win trophies, and they won the Premier League 4 times out of the last 5 years. So they didn't bring me to win the Premier League. They know how to win the Premier League. So you can read between the lines. But I'm here to try to help the club develop even more, to try to win the Champions League for the first time.
Did you think you'd score as much goals coming to Man City? I know you did it at Dortmund, but fitting into this system in the Premier League, did you think you could do as well as you have?
No, I knew I was going to score goals, because last season, how many goals did City score? Probably 100. So to be a striker in this team, when I saw them the last season without a striker, I was like thinking when they were crossing the ball in, I was like, oh, I would love to be there, you know? You know, no, but serious. So I kind of knew I would score a lot of goals, and in the end, there's so much potential in this team, and I think we still can improve a lot, you know, in the game, how we play. And also, it's an easy thing to say, and but I could have scored more goals. I missed a lot of chances, but the most important thing is to come to chances, because when you come to chances, that's what you want as a striker.
Well, you're talking about trying to score more goals. There was an actual Manchester City team who couldn't score more goals than you, and that was the team he played in. In the mid-2000s, scored 39 in a season. You've got Danny on your own, and we're only in mid-March. Micah.
Wow.
Come on.
You do me like that, Jamie?
Yeah, I do you like that.
I have one. If I can say, I'm sure you saw what we said about you, and now you can get better. Where do you think you can get better?
I think I can get better in everything. I've been missing a lot of chances with my left foot. I had along with the goalkeeper in the first half that I should have scored. So left foot, right foot, I have to be much better. Heading, combining, everything. But if I have to take one, maybe to help the other players get better, because this is something I would love to, you know, put people in better positions, the attacking midfielders dropping down, putting them in better positions so they come in the favorite positions they want to be in, you know.
Erling, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. We appreciate your time. Congratulations once again on a sensational night for Manchester City and for yourself individually as well. Wow.
Oh, wow.
What about that? What a night for him.
Why didn't you ask him
what a guy.
if he's picked the right team? You was I was going to come for you for that. I was going to come for you.
And I tell you what, I'd have mentioned Mbappe right away, you big mate.
No, but to be fair to him, I like the way he explained everything. Obviously, it's easier for him to talk about that after a game where he scored 5 goals. But what I liked with him just now is he remembered every single action
Every chance
of the game. And he was honest also to say where we all thought what he has to work on.
He said combination, didn't he?
Bring people in, trying to make people better. That's also something that he is aware he has to work on. But
you're right what you said there, Tim, but I thought it was really interesting that his first answer to that question was a chance he missed with his left foot.
Yeah.
So in his head, it feels to me like, yeah, you can say, could he be involved in the game a bit more, or he's talking about maybe assisting people. He's just obsessed with goals, isn't he? It's just about goals for him, isn't he?
a competitor will always remember first what he missed.
Yes!
Look who else we've got joining us now, guys.
Let's get a proper defender in.
Ruben Diaz, thank you so much for joining us. A pleasure to have you here with us. Congratulations on what's been another brilliant night for Manchester City. What was it like to play in that game?
Well, special night. Obviously, very, very happy for Erling.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Good.
See?
He was just there.
That's our defender.
I was saying, obviously, special night for Erling. Very happy for him. But I think most of all, it was the way the team performed, and we allowed him to be able to be there and score the goals. I think that's our biggest win today. But also not to get too excited, because there's a lot to play. We go through, very happy. All of us very happy, but it's just another one, and we'll keep going.
What were you the most impressed with today? Not conceding, or the way you guys pressed as a team tonight?
Well, between those two, I'll choose going through.
Okay.
But, well, definitely I think that if I have to choose between them two, it was the pressing, the rhythm, the runs, because then that will allow you to be there and to score the goals. We didn't allow them to breathe, and we were always there. And in the end, that's also the reason why Erling is able to be there and just to be close and to score the 5 goals. And I think definitely that's the one to take home, the way we pressed, the runs, everyone on the right time, and good rhythm. And that made the difference. Yeah.
Ruben, there's been a lot of chopping and changing at the back in terms of personnel. At times it's been a back 4, at times you build up with a back 3. Bernardo Silva's found himself at left back at different times as well. I mean, how hard has it been to adapt to that?
Well, I think that's our job. Sometimes it's just you need to be versatile, you need to be ready for the occasion, you need to be ready for the change. But in the end, we need to have the knowledge to do it. And it's our competence, it's our job to know it. Obviously, sometimes it demands you a bit more because you're playing on the right, you're playing on the left. Some of the centre-backs are playing on the as full-backs. And we just need to be sharp, and we need to know all of it from the back. And like you were saying, sometimes we build up with 2, sometimes with 3. And I think also that versatility brings something else to our game. And that's it. We need to be ready.
How much are going? Sorry.
No. Just a quick one. Would you like to play against Benfica?
How much are you enjoying it in Manchester? Because a lot of foreigners, when they come over, they complain about the weather and the lifestyle. How are you enjoying it?
To be honest, I heard so many bad things about it that when I came, it was not that bad. Oh! So for me, I'm okay. I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
You know where he does prefer? Monaco. See you there next year?
What season?
Well, you know, we bumped into each other.
He's trying to get me out. He's trying to get me out.
So, Benfica or not?
Well, let's see. Honestly, I don't like to think about it. Either if it's Benfica or whoever. I thought I like to get away from, just because so many games, so many competitions, and I really try to keep my focus. Like now, on Burnley because it's the next one. It's FA Cup. It's another final, and you need to be there. Obviously, you can always think, oh, this game will be easier, that game will be a bit more difficult. But in the end, I think from now forward, every game will be difficult.
Well, we know.
And I've been watching a lot from Benfica this season, and they're a very good team. So I think there will be no easy games now forward.
Well, we know that the Champions League is the trophy that Manchester City are so desperate to win, Ruben. Do you think after a 7-0 win tonight, 8-1 on aggregate, you've made a massive statement going into the next round?
No, honestly, for me, it means nothing. We just go through. Very nice, like I said before, very happy for Erling, but in the end it means nothing. You just go through another one and we'll be ready for the next one. All that has happened before, we don't take it as negatives, we just take it as build up and build up and build up, and whatever's to come, we will try and make it positive.
Okay, well, good luck in the next round and congratulations on tonight. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Obrigado.
See you guys.
See ya.
You know, it's. I can hear Pep. That's Pep, the way he talks. That's Pep. The next one is Burnley. The next one, don't get carried away. But he said something very important. This is why I think that Pep, he is the best in the world as a coach for me, because he keeps you on your toes. He makes you understand what the game is. You play 3. You saw Stones was inside at one point. Sometimes he changed the system 3 to 4 times in the game. And if you're not clever, if you play under Pep Guardiola, then if you're not clever, you got to go.
Wow.
If you don't use your brain, because he will challenge that brain. And that's what he's saying. You got to be ready. Under Pep, you have to be ready for whatever.
How long would we have lasted?
6 months.
No comment.
I tell you what, there's still a long way to go for our post-match show, but there's a lot of goals to show you as well. 7 from Manchester City tonight. We're going to be showing you every single one of the goals. We're going to be talking more Haaland. We're going to be taking a look at what's to come in the Champions League tomorrow as well. Make sure you stick with us. So loads more to come from the post-match show. Noel Gallagher joining us shortly as well. See you in a bit. Welcome back pitchside here in Manchester, where City have cruised into the quarter-finals. They've won 7-0 tonight against Leipzig, 8-1 on aggregate. Let's take you right back to the first half and the first goal of the night, Thierry. It came from the penalty spot.
Yes.
Did it feel a bit harsh at the time, the awarding of this?
For me, it's not a penalty.
I want City to win, of course I do, but that's never in a million years been a penalty.
Do you know what? You called her name and like magic, here she is.
Woo!
Hello, Christina. Come on then. Help the boys out. No one can quite figure out why this was awarded, especially as Thierry points out, no one even appeals for it on the pitch.
Yeah, and I can appreciate where the gentlemen don't like this as a handling offense. However, as soon as I saw the video output for it, I knew that there would be a barrier and there's contact for it. So we don't necessarily like these either from the officiating standpoint, but we are required to recommend this down. So it was an appropriate recommendation due to where they want us interpreting handling at the current moment.
I mean, we have this discussion a lot, and I totally get what you're talking about when the arm comes out the silhouette, and I agree with that. And if it hit them on the forearm and sort of just stayed where the ball was or anything like that, but yes, the forearm is out. I don't even think it brushes the arm. It doesn't change direction at all. The proximity of how close the player is, I just thought that was one of them where I just thought the context of no real contact on the arm with the ball, that's one of them where maybe a bit of common sense could have came in, because I think that's one where you're very, very unhappy and don't think that's a penalty.
Okay, Christina,
Can I just mention Christina? Sorry.
Yeah.
Normally we see her. Maybe it's at home and there's all stuff behind. Is she out having a meal? Where are you? It's blades in the background. I don't know. Fill us in.
Well, hey, it's freezing where you are, and it's freezing where I'm at. I am thankfully out here in Park City skiing with my little daughter for her spring break. So that is why I think.
Have you got the same contract as Kate?
So hang on. She gets paid for going on holiday. Is that what it is, Christina?
Oh, I'm temporarily not on holiday, but we'll talk about that later.
Christina, thank you very much for now. We will be seeing you tomorrow. A couple more Champions League games, of course, live for you tomorrow evening. Right, let's get back to the City goals then. 2-0, Micah. And it was...
Make your own look.
Yeah, half-time, 3-0, City cruising, and barely before we could even get to our seats to the second half, Gundogan makes it 4.
Yeah, we nearly missed. Haaland occupies everybody in the box. and then they forget about the ball goes to
Haaland again. I mean, it was just nice to see someone else score a goal on the night for Manchester City, but you know, he gets that fifth one. You just look at him here.
Still, right place, right time, tucks it away lovely.
I played with a guy like that, David Trezeguet, and he used to go first post, and I'm looking at his movement, trying to learn, and he goes first post, the ball goes there. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go first post, next cross. The ball bounces on everybody. He goes second post. I turn his second post. You know, it's something that you cannot explain with those guys. They just can smell it. It's like defenders sometimes when they know where the ball is gonna land, you know, to clear it. He has that.
Is that why you just dribbled past 7 players at a time instead of just going to the first or second post? Is that
Look, you can't show people your weaknesses.
what was your weaknesses?
Well, the box. So I find a way to arrive in it or score outside of it. You know.
Well, the only thing missing from Kevin De Bruyne's game at this point in the match was a goal, and then it finally
I'm
came.
taking this
And
one.
what
Okay.
a
I'm
goal!
taking
You
this.
want this one, do you?
Of course I do. I mean,
It's an absolute beauty, isn't it? Absolute beauty.
It is.
Right, we're going to take another break. After this, though, Noel Gallagher is going to be joining us to wax lyrical about his City side. But it was Erling Haaland's night. 5 goals. The records he continues to break are just sensational. See you after this. What a night of Champions League action. Manchester City have thumped Leipzig. They beat them 7-0 on the night. Haaland scoring 5 of the 7 goals. They're into the quarter-finals. And Inter Milan join them as well. Their game with Porto was goalless, but their first leg goal has taken them through to the quarters. Porto pushed them right to the end, but it wasn't to be. Noel Gallagher joining us pitchside at Man City after this. See you in a mo. Welcome back to Manchester City. Noel Gallagher rejoins us. Noel, what a night for your team. Bet you didn't expect 7.
No, I was just saying to Lee, I thought it was going to be a tight game, actually. I thought it'd be the odd goal, but yeah, 7 in the Champions League is somewhat special. And as for the big man, I mean, words fail you, don't they, about him? He's crazy.
Only top teams get 7, Noel.
This is right, yeah.
You weren't sat too far along from us, were you, Noel, up
Yeah,
there?
just
We were
up
in
there.
the studio and you were in the box there.
Yeah.
Bit of a far cry from Main Road, eh?
Well, indeed. Yeah, the food's better. But it was, no, like I say, coming in, it's like you take any kind of win at this stage, but 7 was just as far out. But
Which one of the 7 would you like to look at? Analysed any of those goals?
they're the penalty.
The penalty. That wasn't.
KDB's was amazing, but so was Gundogan's, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about Haaland is he's got 4 tap-ins and a penalty. You know, it's just the sign of I don't, you know, you'll know playing the game. He never got many tap-ins, but he's just there. You know what I mean? Hopefully now this will kickstart because he's had a little bit of a dip over the last few weeks.
Thank God for that. It's not going to be 100 goals.
I know.
No, do you think he's better than Aguero?
Let's see in 5 years when
5 years.
when he leaves, because Aguero shifted the entire narrative of the Premier League. He once said to me that he knew that when Scarpa had passed you once and he put one in the top corner and he said, I knew then it was time I was going to be gone, because there was a new kid in town and it was like this guy was just, you know, you couldn't get him off the ball. But if he does half of what Sergio does by the time he walks out the door, you know, Aguero is the legend of legends here, so he's got a long way to go. But
Am I just a legend or not the legend?
you played for City.
It is ridiculous, though. The numbers, Noel. 39. No, not his. No, it wouldn't take us long to get to his numbers. 39 goals already this
It's
season.
crazy.
It's
It's crazy.
mind-blowing.
It's crazy. No, none of it. You know, when he landed, it was like, what's he going to do? And you thought, well, if he gets the golden boot, that would be great. But in this league, you know, 39 goals already. I mean, it's incredible. It really is.
No, listen, we could be losing this fella at some stage because he's desperate to get back into management. We hope he does. Hope it goes well. We're looking for an analyst.
Right.
Could you analyse Kevin De Bruyne's goal for us right now and put yourself in the running for the job?
Go on then.
Come on, let's have a go.
So, well, I'll start by saying I do need my glasses. So, there's a guy with a ball who gives it to another fellow with a ball who cuts inside, and what a goal. There's no glass in there. They're plastic. It was a belter. Yeah, he's back. Well,
I think you need a bit more than this if you're going to get the job, Noel.
I've got another job. I don't know whether you're aware of this, Jamie. I'm quite an internationally recognised rock star, so I'm not going to hang me out on any of this nonsense. But it was a great goal by a great guy.
Marks out of 10, Jamie?
Compared to who?
Micah.
Micah. I mean, what do you think?
I think I'm out of a job.
He can see better than you, to be fair.
Do you want to do a Gundogan goal as well? You got to do the Gundogan. Come closer, let's switch sides. Can you see? There's one there, right there for you.
Well, I'll try and make it look as easy as possible.
All right, let's take a look at Gundogan's goal then. This one was the goal that made it 4-0. It was just after half-time. Were you still, I don't know, having your cake at this point? Because we almost all missed this goal.
Yeah, we were cracking open the Asahi upstairs. It was getting quite angry. It's just hanging out there. What's that? What's that thing there? What's all those things?
It's a rhombus!
Hang on, player though. Tell you what a player. Gundogan.
Well, to be honest though, I mean it's pretty harsh. We went to a karaoke in New York, and Jamie tried to do your job. So how about you do a sing-song for Noel?
I'd love to.
Don't look back in anger. Do you want to do that one?
Yeah, how's that? Can you start me off?
No.
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 Slip inside the eye of your mind.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Don't you know you might find.
Thanks for joining us. We have to go now.
Place to play.
It's been great. I'm sorry about that. That noise you will have heard was a cat being strangled.
You said that you'd never be, but all the things that we'd see
Go on, Carragher.
slowly fade away. Slip inside the eye of your mind.
I have to say, that song is virtually unmurderable.
Not anymore.
Until today, getting Caldonia legend.
Micah, who's better at their other job?
I've got to give it to Noel.
I've got to say, the pair of them are nicking a living. The pair of them are nicking a living.
And that's as players.
Where do we go from here?
There's only this guy here. There's only this guy.
I stay in my lane.
Exactly.
I stay in my lane.
Exactly.
I can't show people my weaknesses. I can't sing.
Exactly.
Stay in my lane.
He's not doing the Macarena, is he? He's to it.
I can do the Macarena. Yes.
Oh, this has taken a strange turn. We're going to let you go, Noel. Thank you so much for joining us.
No,
it's been really good fun.
Super.
All the best, man.
Have a great time in America. Good luck with the tour as well, Noel. And thanks once again for joining us. Right. We've still got the Inter-Porto game to look at, and we're going to look ahead to tomorrow night's Champions League matches as well with these guys. So make sure you join us after the break. More Champions League action to come. Tonight, Manchester City and Inter Milan moved on, and tomorrow the round of 16 concludes with the last two quarter-final spots to be decided. Defending champions Real Madrid look to close out Liverpool, whilst over in Italy, history beckons for Napoli. The runaway Serie A leaders can advance to the last 8 for the first time against Eintracht Frankfurt. You can catch either game live on Paramount Plus, or if you prefer, you can watch both at the same time on the Paramount Plus UCL multi-match stream. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. Eastern. Welcome back. It has been a thoroughly entertaining night of Champions League action. Manchester City are through to the quarterfinals. They won 7-0 here at the Etihad this evening. And in the other game, Inter Milan also through to the quarterfinals, but no goals in their match against Porto. So it was actually Romelu Lukaku's goal from the first leg that's taken them through to the next round of the competition. But they only scraped it, Thierry. The stoppage time chances Porto had, I mean, they must have been so nervous at this point.
It is about that.
Through, Micah. They're 2-0 up on Eintracht Frankfurt, and their game's at home tomorrow. Assuming they go through, it'll be 3 Italian teams through, because AC Milan already through as well.
What did I say earlier on? The Italian teams are back. I said it. I've been saying it.
He wants a job on the Serie A show, doesn't he?
Yeah, I might need one.
It is good to see the Italian teams back, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. You know, me and Thierry, we played. You know what I mean? We're cultured. We're cultured footballers.
I passed by. I just passed by.
You passed by, but you still went there.
Yeah, true.
Jamie stayed, in Liverpool, took the easy route. But
You never went there. You got sent there.
Yeah, there's a difference in there. But it is good to see, because, like we said with this game today, we didn't know how it was going to be. Inter Milan have been up and down. And again, it was the chances. Porto had chances to win this game, just like the first leg. but they didn't put them chances away, and they're going home.
First time in 17 years that the two Milan teams are through to the quarter-finals of the Champions League. So great to see them both there. Napoli 2-0 up from the first leg against Frankfurt. Jamie.
I think I said last week the most exciting player in Europe, and I do believe that. I'm not saying the best, but the most exciting in that. It's just a player who's come from nowhere, and it's just every time I watch him, I think he scored a goal at the weekend.
Yes.
But he cut
Again,
inside.
Osimhen gave him the ball. Again, those two, crazy.
I just love watching them play. Obviously, we saw them a lot through this tournament. I saw them heavily in the games against Liverpool, and I think Micah called them as winners or potential winners.
Potential winners,
and rightly so. And as I said, I think my team, unfortunately, are going to go out tomorrow. I think Napoli are going to go through. And if that is the case, which I think will happen, I would love to see Napoli go on and win it.
Thierry, you're going to be doing some analysis on Kvaratskhelia tomorrow for us, aren't you? What can we look forward to seeing?
About everything. He can press, he can hold the ball, he can see a pass, he has leg to go on the break with Osimhen. This is why they understand each other very well, because when Osimhen opens his leg, it's not easy to catch up with him, but he is with him all the time. It's just the full package. Hopefully he can carry on for him, hopefully they can win the league. Well, if they don't win the league, he will be crazy with the amount of points that they have ahead. But winning the Champions League will be, I mean, just crazy. I'm not there with you guys yet, but definitely, you know, when you watch Napoli play, at the minute, you will enjoy a game because they can do everything really well.
They're just so fun to watch, aren't they? Jamie, you've been in such good spirits tonight. But
what's going on?
Well, I'm a bit worried that tomorrow you might be grumpy if it doesn't.
No, I'm prepared for it. You know, it is 5-2. There's a few midfield players out for Liverpool. I think Bacetic and Henderson are out. So I'm not quite sure what the team will be. But it's one to, let's see what happens. You never know. We are a team famous for comebacks, aren't we?
Yeah, well, let's see if we can do it tomorrow. No. I know enough. You said it enough times. But you know what I'm looking forward to?
What's
Your
that?
opening link tomorrow. Because today, you absolutely nailed it. So I'm looking forward to
See you tomorrow.
That. Yes.
I might. Kate's voice is a bit croaky, but I might give her a call and get her to give me some tips for tomorrow in the studio instead. No, you don't like the sound of that?
You're back here. You've got to be nice to Big
You don't like the sound of that?
No, I don't like the sound of that.
So, genuinely, Jamie, can Liverpool do it tomorrow?
Can they? Listen, of course they can, but it's going to be very difficult. The team that they're coming up against. The only little bit of hope is not really for me looking in the past of Liverpool games, going back 10, 20 years, looking at what Chelsea did last season, where they almost, you know, did that to Real Madrid. They'd lost the first leg in 3-1. I think they got back 2-0 or 3-0 at one stage, but fingers crossed, we shall see.
OK, well, I look forward to tomorrow, guys. Thierry, Jamie, thanks for your company. Micah, thanks for having us in your gaff tonight. It's been great.
Kate is sweating at home.
You can't change a winning team.
I know, you can't. I'll be here tomorrow.
Sorry, Kate.
King Haaland has reigned in Manchester tonight, whilst Inter held on in Porto to advance to the last 8 as well. The final 2 quarter-final spots will be decided tomorrow when we'll be back in the warm embrace of our studio. Until then, from pitchside here in Manchester, from myself, Thierry, Jamie, and the former King of Manchester, Micah. Good night.